Oh hey, what's up everyone? Back again to make another video. It's been about what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks since I made the video. We've had a couple weeks to let the news of ITT closing sink in. I just want to first thank you guys, all of you, for watching my videos and supporting me and the channel, subscribing and liking and all of the comments and the well wishes for me and everyone else. In this situation. I really appreciate that, that means a lot. So this video is going to be not so much about the situation going on. If you haven't watched the last video, go check that out. That'll give you kind of what to do if you've been at the school now, or if you went to the school. It kind of gives you a little what to do, where to go with your life from there, post ITT. This video, why do I sound so out of breath? I swear I didn't just work out. I worked out yesterday, and like my arm, like the camera might be a little shaky, because you know that feeling when you work out for the first time in like a month or two and your arm feels like jelly, and it's like, man, I should be doing this every other day, not every month. And that's how my arm is. So I'm going to try and keep the camera as still as I can. I'm sorry. If there's Blair Witch, Cloverfield, shaky cam, I'm sorry. I apologize. But where were we? I'm going to be making a video about teachers today. I'm going to keep it kind of brief. I'm going to put that ITT education to good use, I figured why make one video that's like 25 minutes. I'll just make two video. One, two, I don't even know how to count. I'll make two videos that are like 10, 12 minutes each. And then I think that'll be better for you guys. So let's jump right in. So I started with computer science. I'm gonna do computer science, like my 2 year, and then my other 2 years will be in the second video, just to kind of break it up. So I went for computer science. This was in 2009. I started in 2009, the beginning of it. I had pretty much, for me, when I went to the school, obviously the teacher is the most important part. My goal going into the school was to get good grades, study hard, and learn something. That was my goal. The problem was a lot of the teachers' goal, being at ITT Tech, was not to teach very much. Their goal was just to get a paycheck, show up to work every day, and make sure everybody passed. That was a teacher's goal at ITT. That was their motto when they signed on to be a teacher. And that's not how a teacher should operate. Some teachers were great. I had a couple. Let me just shout one out from my CS degree. His name was Mr. Dillon. He was great. He left a $95,000 or $100,000 a year job as an IT server systems admin specialist at a major company to become a full-time teacher. That's the type of guy I feel bad for. Somebody like that who really dedicated himself to teaching and shaping, somebody's mind and giving them the tools they need for the future. And then they took away his opportunity, so he has to go somewhere else and find it. I've gotten comments on the videos about teachers and faculty and admin that have been displaced because of this. We feel for you too as students, but you have to understand, you guys were getting a paycheck. We were paying. So when you guys sit here and say, well, we lost jobs, yes, that's unfortunate, but we lost like our life pretty much. Some people went for a year and a half, 2 years, 1 year. 6 months, wasted of time that they can't get back, trying to get a better job. You guys had a decent job. ITT paid you well if you were an admin or faculty, maybe not so much teacher, and that was another thing about the teachers, is a lot of the teachers complained about the pay. Oh, we don't get paid hardly anything. We don't do this for the pay. We do it because we enjoy it. Well, then why do you keep bringing up the pay every 5 seconds? Obviously, you're doing it for a paycheck. A lot of teachers, they were there mainly as a second job, not for a first job. Most of them had a job during the day, and then they would come at night. Some teachers were full-time, but most of them were just at night. They would come in for like 2 or 3 classes a week at night. Some would come like every night after work, and they would just make extra money, and it worked for them. So they were all a little bit different. So let me talk to you about one of my teachers specifically that I had that I can think of right away. Her name was Sharon, first name only. We won't say last name. She was something for sure. She was the type of teacher. Okay, well, first let me say she was absent twice. She didn't show up to class at all twice. So once we had to have a sub come in, a substitute teacher in college. Like, that's crazy. You teach 1, 2 classes a week. You can't even make it. I get if you're really sick, fine. But she was absent twice, and she was late 4 other times. So half of the quarter, which is, we do 12-week quarters in ITT, as some of you know, half the time she was late or absent. What? What even? Like, I can sit at home and just not show up those 2 days. Like, you should tell me first before I go. The one day we just went home because we didn't know what to do. Nobody was even there. It was a morning class. So nobody was there to help us figure out what to do. So we just said, well, we're going to go home. If nobody's here to teach, we'll just go. She was the type to read out of the book. She would give every student a paragraph and say, okay, you read this, and then you're going to read this one. And then kept going through the whole entire chapter, and it droned on. It was like, okay, 2.5 hours later, we finally finished the chapter reading, and it's like, I didn't learn a thing. I'm still trying to get like everybody's like monotone voice out of my head because everybody is so tired and they're so quiet with their voice in the morning. I could barely learn a thing from that. She didn't relate anything back to the real world. She had barely any experience in the field of study, which was computer science. Book work was plenty. There were plenty of assignments in that class that had bookwork assignments, and we had to do them all. Okay, we're going to do 2 in-class assignments, and you'll have 1 for homework. Oh, great. Just a bunch of bookwork. I'm learning so much. Like, can I actually, like, touch a computer? Can I stick my floppy in a computer? Okay, that was a bad analogy. Nobody uses floppies, really, anymore. Can I touch a computer? Can I just touch and hold a mouse? Or do I just have to read out of a book and do a book? Oh God, thinking about it it was the worst class. It was like a high school class but on steroids, and it was like, stop. I'm here for 4.5 hours and I'm not learning a thing. So that was probably the worst teacher I've ever had, ever in my entire 24. No, that's not right. I've been going to school since I was 5 till it's 18. I've been going to school for 18 years then, because I went from 5 to 23. So in my 18 years of schooling, I had never had a teacher that bad. Ever. She was awful. Okay. I took the most time on her, the rest kind of short. I had another teacher for my CS classes. He was a good guy, really nice guy. But the problem is he had, I'm not even kidding you with this story. He had 2 broken ribs. He was playing with his sons one day, and like he almost dropped his kid. So bigger guy, like bigger, heavier dude. And he almost dropped his son. So he had to so he grabbed his son, of course, like he laid out like he was catching a football pass, like he was Odell Beckham catching a football. And like he laid out and broke 2 of his ribs, like tripped over something, saved his child, but landed like, flat out onto the ground. So he could barely talk, and he had issues communicating because it hurt to talk. Get that fixed, my friend. I don't even know if you can get a broken rib fixed. I don't know how that works. I'm sure you can get it fixed. I think surgery would fix it. And he wouldn't go. So I was like, great, I've got this guy who can't speak to me for 12 weeks, and he's just going to go through PowerPoints. So we would read the PowerPoint, and he would let us, and he would tell me when you want me to go to the next PowerPoint slide. And it was like, my God, just, yes, we're ready. And then everybody would raise their hand when they're ready. And it was like, this is teaching? Man, take a quarter off, fix yourself, heal yourself up, and come back strong and better than ever, my friend. But no. So that was pretty brutal. I had a math teacher who had trouble communicating in English. He was like a half and half, which, look, I respect everybody. I respect the American dream. I respect everybody having, an equal opportunity. But when you're teaching a class, it's rough. It's really hard. You have to really commit yourself and dedicate yourself to that. And he just really wasn't prepared. A lot of the times, it was the first 20 minutes of class, he was looking through his notes, trying to figure out what we were supposed to be doing. And it was like, dude, you're supposed to know. You had a whole week to prepare for us. It was his only class. And then it's like, man, 1 class, and you had all week to prepare, and you couldn't even prepare. And then the place next door, they were building a library for some reason, like we needed a library at ITT Tech. Like we have an online library with like thousands and thousands of textbooks, but they needed an actual library. Okay, nice, good meme. So they were jackhammering that every class for the first 5 or 6 weeks. Finally got our classroom switched to another room. And then, but we still couldn't understand him. He had trouble speaking. And it was a trigonometry course, so it's math. It's hard anyways. So, I mean, that was kind of tough. I had a math teacher. I got into a really bad car accident in 2009. I almost died, almost lost my life. I was not the driver. No drunk involved. Me and my friend just being stupid in a car. Lucky to be alive. But I had to get a surgery on my arm. I was in the hospital for a week. I was in the hospital for like 3 days. Got my surgery. Then I had to recover for like a week and a half. I went back to this guy's class. Right, the week I get into a car accident, we had a midterm. This dude would not let me make up the midterm. He said I had to be there. It doesn't matter. Had to be there. Couldn't make it up. Somebody could have gave me the answers. I said, why don't you change the test? Change around the answers. Make the questions in a different order and make the answers in a different order so that I can't, like, just cheat. Not like I would anyways. You kind of got to be here, man. I'm sorry. Sorry? I was in the hospital. I was half dead. And I was in a what is it, ICU, intensive care. And this guy's telling me that I can't retake the midterm. Are you kidding me? So then I went to the office and eventually, like, they said, look, like, this guy needs to take his midterm. He wasn't here for medical reasons. He has a doctor's note saying that he could not physically even come to class. Like, it was more than just he had the flu or he was just trying to be absent on purpose because he wanted to do something else. So eventually he let me take the midterm again, or he let me retake it because I missed it. But I thought that was pretty cheap. That guy was really, he was a tough guy. I had a teacher named Mr. True. I'm not going to say his first name. Well, I'll get to him in the second video, but I just want to prep you guys. I think I've told this story in every video, but he's the guy that, like, hates women and talks about, like, he relates, like, his economic stories to strip clubs, and you're like, okay. He's had, like, 20 jobs. This guy's advice to us was to never keep a job for more than 4 or 5 years. He said because they get bored and tired of you and they want to get rid of you. That's how people move up in a company. That's how you grow in a business and get, like, successful. Staying in a company, not being like the low-level guy every company you go to for 5 years. And then he taught like 7 or 8 different classes, but he was like good at none. Jack of all trades, master of none. He had no clue what he was doing in any class. So I'll get to him though in the next video because I'd rather just spend like a whole like 5 to 10 minute block just talking about him. Okay, so I'm going to finish this video talking about my composition teachers. I had a teacher named Mr. Ryan, taught composition, writing English. My best friend at school that I met through school had another teacher, female. There's a story about her. I'll get to that. That'll be the cliffhanger for this video. There's a story about her. And, okay. So I had an essay a week, in-class essay a week, and then an essay at home to do per week. Minimum, I think the minimum for the essay in class was like 750 words. It wasn't like awful. The minimum for home was 1,500 word essay. It's like, dude, come on. Like, really? Every week? This guy was a hard ass. He was like, he had been in the military, failed police officer, got kicked out of the force. It's like, dude, please. This one time, and then to compare that, my friend's class, the composition 1 class that he had 1 essay a week, or he had 1 essay in class for the whole quarter, and he had 1 essay at home for the whole quarter. So he had 2 essays, 1 in class, 1 at home, but it was for the whole quarter. So they would focus on a different part of the essay every week to really learn writing skills and styles and how to, do thesis and like, pronouns and adverbs and sentence structure, and this goes here, and if you use this type of language and tone in this sentence, then the next sentence should have this in it. She was great. I had her for composition too. But my teacher, some of our essays were ridiculous. Like, he gives some people, like, okay, you're going to write about gay marriage and you are for legalizing gay marriage. You have to write an essay on why gay marriage should be legal. Okay, fine. I get that. Like, that kind of stuff, it's like it challenges you. One time, we had an essay, 1,500 words. It was an at-home essay. We had to write a descriptive essay about ourselves without using the letter I as a word. What? Are you kidding me? 1,500 words without using the letter I to describe ourselves. Like, I get it's a challenge, but when you're doing computer science major, does anybody really care? If I worked for Geek Squad, I don't think the lady's going to care about the write-up. I do a little 2-sentence write-up on what was wrong and how I fixed it. Okay, there you go. Done. I plugged in computer. I unplugged router. Router came back on. Internet worked again. And I used the letter I, and guess what? She wasn't mad. There you go. Done. It was ridiculous. This guy was the worst. He was an all right teacher. He was the worst kind of person because everything you did in his class, he was always right. Even if you came to a different conclusion a different way, or same conclusion a different way, didn't matter. His way was right. He was right. No, can't do it this way. You can't. Then he would make us peer review papers. And it was like, my friend, like, we're all trying to learn how to write better, and we don't know. Like, I peer reviewed somebody's paper, and like there was like barely any red ink on it. And he's like, well, it doesn't look like you did very much. I'm like, because it looks good to me. I like it. I like it. Great story. Wonderful. I'd read it again. 10 out of 10. Would read it again, and would give her the same grade on the thing again. Then he fucking goes over it, and like the whole thing is just littered with red ink. It's drowning in red ink. It looks like he just killed somebody and then soaked her paper in it. And it's like, my God, like, I missed all this. Well, because teach it. Show me what I'm doing wrong and why her paper wasn't as good as I thought it was. But he didn't do that. And this video is like getting really long, so I'm going to end it here. Like I said, there's a cliffhanger about my Comp 2 teacher. You don't want to miss that. Oh, story about her. Okay, guys. So again, thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. I know it's cheesy and all that, but like, seriously, guys, we're all in this together, and we just like to share stories and just kind of vent together, you know? Just kind of, we're all heartbroken by ITT. We've all had a really bad breakup. And if you guys have any awful teacher stories or stories about how bad your teachers were or any of them, tell me in the comments. I want to hear it. I want to know. So you guys have yourselves a good weekend, because this is going up Friday. I know exactly what day this is going up now. It's going up Friday, and you all have a good weekend. Love you all.